I still remember the sound of the door slamming shut the night she walked out, leaving me alone with 3 terrified children clinging to my legs. She didn't just leave me, she abandoned the family we built, chasing a man she swore was her true love. For years, I carried the weight of broken promises, raising our kids with nothing but anger and exhaustion fueling me. I thought I had buried the pain forever. Until decades later, a knock echoed through that same door. And when I opened it there, she was begging. But after everything she put us through, could I ever let her back in? Before everything fell apart, my life felt simple, ordinary. I wasn't rich, I wasn't extraordinary. But I had something I thought was worth more than gold: a wife I adored and 3 beautiful children who filled my world with laughter. I believed love was enough to hold us together. I worked long hours, came home tired, but the sight of my kids running into my arms made every sacrifice worthwhile. Yet, beneath the surface, I often wondered if she felt the same. There were nights I'd catch her staring out the window, her mind clearly somewhere far away. I would ask if she was okay, and she'd smile, but the smile never reached her eyes. Deep down, a quiet fear lived inside me: was I truly enough for her? Or was she yearning for something I could never give? Back then, I buried those thoughts quickly, convincing myself that every couple has rough patches. I told myself love conquers everything, even doubt. But now, looking back, I realized the signs were always there: the late nights she didn't explain, the distance growing between us, the way she flinched when I reached for her hand. At the time, I was blind to it, too desperate to believe in the family I thought we had. I never imagined that one day, the woman I loved would walk out, leaving me to piece together the shattered remains of our life. The night she left is etched into my memory like a scar that never fades. I remember the faint scent of her perfume lingering in the hallway long after the door slammed. She didn't look back. Not at me, not at the children, not even at the life we had built with our own hands. I stood frozen, clutching the youngest in my arms, while the other 2 cried out for their mother. And in that silence, it hit me: love isn't always enough to make someone stay. Days turned into weeks, and weeks stretched into months. I learned quickly how heavy life feels when you're carrying it alone. There were nights when I collapsed on the kitchen floor after putting the kids to bed, silently begging for strength. I told myself I had to survive for them, even if I felt like I was dying inside. But even as I forced myself forward, a bitter voice whispered in the back of my mind: she chose another man over us. The betrayal burned deeper than any wound. I wondered if she ever thought of us, if her new life gave her the happiness she couldn't find here. Sometimes I hated her, sometimes I missed her. Most days, I felt both at once. The children grew quickly, far faster than I was ready for. I saw the confusion in their eyes when Mother's Day came around and she wasn't there. I made excuses: she's busy, she calls soon. But deep down, I knew I was lying to protect their hearts. The truth was too cruel for them to carry. And yet, time has a strange way of numbing even the deepest wounds. Slowly, we built a life without her. The kids grew stronger, and so did I, though the loneliness never left. Friends told me to move on, to remarry, to find happiness again. But how do you give your heart away when the last time you trusted love, it tore you apart? Years passed, decades even. The pain dulled, but it never disappeared. I thought she was gone forever, erased from our lives like a chapter I refused to reread, until that night. It was late, the house quiet, except for the ticking clock in the living room. A sudden knock rattled the door, sharp and unexpected. My stomach tightened. Rarely did anyone visit unannounced. With each step I took toward the door, unease grew heavier in my chest. And then I opened it. There she was, older, worn, her eyes heavy with regret. For a moment, time stopped. My heart slammed against my ribs, every memory flooding back at once. The woman who destroyed us stood before me, trembling as though she were the victim. And then she spoke, her voice cracked. "Please, let me in." For a long moment, I just stared at her, my hand frozen on the doorknob. My mind screamed at me to slam the door in her face, but my body refused to move. She looked nothing like the woman who had left me decades ago. Her hair was streaked with gray, her once confident smile replaced by trembling lips. But her eyes, those same eyes that once promised me forever still, had the power to unravel me. I wanted to shout, to unleash years of buried rage, but my voice cracked before words could form. Why now? Why after all this time? She stepped closer, her hands shaking. I made a mistake, she whispered. The man I left for, he's gone. I've lost everything. I just want to see the kids. I want forgiveness. The word struck me like a knife. Forgiveness, as if decades of pain could be erased by a single plea. My chest tightened as memories collided: her laughter in the kitchen, the sound of our children crying for her, the endless nights I spent alone. Love and hate, longing and loathing, all waged war inside me. I felt the weight of my children's faces pressing into my memory. The birthdays she missed, the tears I wiped alone, the sacrifices I made without her. Did she think she could just walk back into our lives, as if nothing had happened? And yet, part of me still ached at the sight of her. Buried beneath the resentment was a flicker of the man who once believed she was his entire world. My hands trembled, torn between slamming the door shut forever and pulling her into the warmth of the home she had abandoned. Her eyes filled with tears. Please, she whispered again, her voice breaking. And in that moment, I realized, whatever I chose next would change everything. I stood there, my heart pounding louder than the silence between us. For years, I imagined this moment: what I would say if she ever came back, how I would unleash every ounce of pain she left behind. But now that she was here, broken and pleading, I realized the power was no longer hers, it was mine. I let her words hang in the air, heavy and desperate. I thought of the countless nights I cried into my pillow, the times I wanted to give up, the moments I questioned whether love was worth the agony. But then I thought of my children, their strength, their resilience, the way they had grown into good people without her. In their laughter, I had found healing. In their lives, I had found purpose. Forgiveness. The word echoed in my mind. Did she deserve it? No. But maybe forgiveness was never about her, it was about me, about letting go of the chains that had bound me for decades. I looked into her tear-filled eyes and felt a strange calm wash over me. You don't belong here anymore, I whispered, my voice steady. The kids built their lives without you, and so did I. Her face crumbled, and for the first time I saw her truly powerless. She had walked away once with pride. Now she left with nothing but regret. As I closed the door, I felt a weight lift from my chest. That night, I sat in the quiet of my home and realized something. Sometimes love doesn't return the way we want it to. Sometimes the greatest strength is not in taking someone back, but in walking away for good. And I can't help but wonder, if the person who once shattered your heart came back begging, would you open the door? Would you finally close it forever?